Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up as the Spencer estate was draped in black, a solemn tribute to the man whose life had been cut short. The air was heavy with grief. Nearly everyone from the Forrester, Logan, and Spencer families had attended Liam's funeral, a bittersweet reunion of broken hearts and strained relationships. The mourners' faces were etched with grief and disbelief as they filled the private chapel's pews in solemn black attire. Hope was in the front row, staring at the casket containing the body of the man she had once loved with every fiber of her being. With a blank, almost hollow expression, Brooke sat next to her arm around her daughter, and the two women tried their hardest to hold back their tears. Steffi was standing across the aisle from Ridge, Taylor, and Thomas, her eyes wet from guilt and recollections that just wouldn't stop coming back to her. However, Bill Spencer had yet to arrive, something that many whispered about as they pondered how the distraught father would deal with this unbearable farewell. The minister was about to speak when the heavy double doors suddenly opened. The chapel was filled with gasps as Bill Spencer stormed in, his face wreathing not out of sadness but out of rage. There was no denying the waves of rage that emanated from him, his bloodshot eyes clenched, fists in his hands. The guests turned in shock as they witnessed the billionaire patriarch approach the casket like a demon. He had been finally broken, according to some. However, others could see that he wasn't there to grieve. He was here to bring hell to an end. Cut off the service, Bill yelled, his voice crackling like thunder throughout the chapel. The minister said nothing as he backed away in disbelief. Hope abruptly stood, her lips moving in alarm. Steffi's eyes grew wider. Rich shielded Taylor in front of him, uncertain of what was about to happen. Bill screamed in agony, "You all sit here acting like this is some sacred moment for a man who was betrayed not just by fate but by the very people in this room." In a voice that was shaking, Brooke tried to say Bill, but he interrupted her. "Don't, simply do not. In light of what I just discovered, he was now the center of attention. Do you really want to know what happened to Liam? Do you believe that it was an accident, the tragedy?" he said it, his voice getting louder with each word. "Well, let me be the one to disprove the myth. My son did not pass away as a result of a calamity. He died as a result of being deceived, coerced, and ultimately pushed to his death by people he trusted." Steffi finally spoke after a stunned silence. "Bill, what are you trying to say?" With a glare that could have lit a fire, he turned to face her. It was you who initiated it. Even though you were aware that he was married, you were unable to avoid him. You manipulated his heart to the point where he couldn't tell which way was up. Steffi, you pushed him over the edge." Taylor took a defensive stance. "That's not right." "Fair," Bill barked. "Would you like to discuss fairness? Then let's talk about Thomas, who was subtly threatening Liam's deathbed." "Ridge, did you know that your precious son was lying, manipulating, and acting like a friend while threatening Liam with custody documents?" Thomas's face became pale. "That's not accurate," Bill hissed. "Oh, it's true. I have evidence. I have the recordings of the voices. The emails are mine. Observe that Liam contacted me prior to his death. He was scared. He informed me of a significant problem. I am aware now he wasn't suspicious. He was the target." With a hand on her mouth and tears streaming down her face, Hope stumbled backward. "No, Liam did not inform me," Bill said softly, his voice now trembling with rage and pain. "No, because he did not want you to be concerned, because he was crumbling as he tried to shield you, and it's too late now." Now the room was in disarray. Hope nearly fell to the ground as Brooke tried to keep her upright as she fiercely whispered to Ridge. Shaken and devastated, Steffi stared at the ground. "However, Bill was not done," he said, "and don't think I forgot you either." Poppy, turning toward the back where she and Luna were standing, "You leaked private information to the media, giving the impression that Liam had fallen back into depression. You attempted to shield Luna from the media, but in the process you damaged my son's reputation, Poppy said in a low voice. I didn't mean to, Bill yelled. No one intends to, but it continued to occur. My son has since passed away, and none of you will ever be forgiven by me. With a brief moment of softness in his voice, he turned toward the coffin. Son I adored. I should have given you better protection. I should have anticipated this. He hit the closed lid with his palm. But I can assure you, Liam, that I will receive justice, Faye, regardless of the cost. After that, Bill abruptly swung around and fled, leaving behind a frayed morning room. A reckoning had replaced the solemn farewell that had been planned. The repercussions were massive. In the days that followed, Bill gave the media access to the audio recordings. Thomas was depicted in headlines as a manipulator and Steffi as emotionally abusive. Forrester Creations had a terrible PR experience concerned about the brand's association with such a scandal. Investors began to withdraw. Ridge was forced to suspend Thomas on an indefinite basis, while Steffi resigned from her position as co-CEO. Hope, devastated, joined Beth in leaving town to clear her head, but it was clear that she was also struggling with the guilt of not having seen what Liam was going through. Ridge was blamed by Brooke. Ridge laid blame on Bill not only within families, but also between them were new war lines drawn. One fact remained. Despite all the destruction, Liam was no more, and the inquiries regarding his death were by no means over, because the report on the death occurred then. Bill did not show it to the media. When he received it, he stopped after scanning the lines with his eyes. His hand was shaking. Liam's body contained traces of an unknown substance, something that does not naturally occur, something that wasn't right. The accident had caused more than just his death. He had been intoxicated. Bill was instantly aware that the truth was not just unpleasant, it was deadly, and it's possible that one of them is still the real killer. The soft rustle of the papers in Bill's shaking hand was the only sound that broke the deafening silence in his office. Even though he had read the autopsy report 3 times, the words continued to smolder in his mind. In the blood, a compound that is unknown was found, lacking conclusive toxicology. In progress is additional research. Liam hadn't just fallen, he wasn't going to crash. He had been drugged or impaired. It was not by chance. There is no chance. There was no emotional coma. This was planned in advance. Bill's rage surged through him like a tidal wave as he gritted his teeth. He said, clenching his fist, they thought I wouldn't find out. They thought I would simply bury him and leave. However, they were wrong. They don't know what's coming. Bill Spencer, a grieving father, transformed into a man on a mission. In a flash, a man with an unlimited supply of resources, a global network, and nothing to lose. He didn't wait for reports from the police after what had transpired with Shifella. He lacked faith in the LAPD for cross-analysis of the compound. He employed a private forensic laboratory. He sent Justin Barber, his best security expert, to investigate Liam's last 72 hours. He got access to traffic cameras, surveillance footage, and even private cell tower pings by paying top hackers. He desired to reconstruct every moment of Liam's final days. He would find out if anyone had touched his son, fed him something, or impacted his mental state, and they would pay. When he did, Justin, on the other hand, discovered the unexpected. First, Bill's eyes narrowed as he scrolled through the recovered messages from Liam and Poppy, which had been deleted from their text messages. They were not in love, they didn't get along. While they were urgent, strained, and encoded. I'm not sure what that was, Liam. I didn't have any strange drinks. Why am I once more dizzy? Poppy, you should take a break. Please keep this to yourself. At this time, Liam, what was it that you gave me? I'm serious, Poppy. I had no idea. It would have such an impact on you, Bill. Stopped breathing. Poppy, the mother of Luna, the woman who had previously pleaded with him to forgive her for her own secrets. What the hell were you hiding this time? Bill spoke softly. The following day, he went up against a rat Forrester slicing through the hallways. Like a predator, Poppy was assisting Luna with a new campaign in an effort to move on and put an end to the chaos that always followed her. But her new leaf didn't interest Bill. He abruptly entered the design office and slammed the door behind him, declaring, "You drugged my son." Poppy, convulsed. Luna was shocked and looked up. "What are you discussing?" She spoke swiftly. "I wouldn't ever." Bill yelled, "I've got the texts. Liam reported that you gave him something. He was unable to comprehend what it was, and he is dead now." Poppy's voice was shaking. "I didn't mean to give him drugs. I didn't. It was just a sedative, something with herbs, natural." He claimed to be anxious and unable to sleep, and Bill yelled, "You gave him something that changed his state. You gave him something that made him feel like he was in a fog. He ended up right in that awful crash because of that fog. That was not treatment. That was considered murder." Luna grabbed hold of her mother. "Mom, what were you doing?" However, Poppy was already weeping and jerking her head. "I did not desire this. I promised to you he wouldn't have been hurt by it. I figured it would be helpful." Bill took a step forward and stood tall over her. "You won't be able to cry. You can't play the victim. You deceived him. You deceived me, and you are going to pay." Now he then did something nobody expected. He made a police report that evening. Poppy was taken into custody and charged with criminal negligence, tampering with medication, and providing illegal substances without permission. The allegations shook the community to its core. The Forresters attempted to maintain their distance. Luna begged Bill for mercy, but he was icy and uncaring. "She took my son from me," he said to her, "and you still don't understand." But this was just the beginning. As a result of yet another shocking revelation, the substance in Liam's system's composition was finally deciphered by the lab Bill had hired. It wasn't just a supplement made of herbs. It contained a substance found in high sedatives, which are illegal to sell in the United States, the kind that dulls memories, causes confusion, and sometimes even causes blackouts. Poppy's story was quickly falling apart, but as the case built up around her, another name began to surface. Zend. Justin found security footage of Liam and Zend arguing in the parking garage of Forrester Creations. Just 2 days before the crash, it wasn't a minor argument. Liam was visibly shaken. Zend was belligerent. Liam pushed Zend away at the end of their argument before speeding off. Bill demanded clarification. With a voice of steel, he cornered Zend at the studio. What was the topic of that fight? Bill didn't buy Zend's attempt to deflect by claiming that it was a creative disagreement. "You were dripping sweat." Liam was afraid. "Isn't that a threat you made against him?" Zend fell short. "No, it wasn't like that," I replied. Justin also discovered that Liam had been looking into Zend's offshore accounts. He quietly compiled documents with an anonymous tip that he intended to turn over to the board because he suspected the fashion house of embezzlement. Those files were mysteriously deleted from his drive the night he died. The backup to the cloud was deleted. Bill made the connections. A financial scandal was getting closer and closer to Liam. Zend was motivated. The means were provided by Poppy, perhaps unknowingly. However, someone else had extended it. Bill went back to the funeral chapel on his own and in silence. This time, he stood in front of the marble-encased casket of Liam. He whispered, "I know you were trying to protect everyone. You gave your life for this family. To tell the truth, however, that is not the end for me. Every lie, fake smile, and half apology will be burned. Liam, you didn't deserve to die. And I won't stop until the person who drove you there is chained up." Bill Spencer then made a promise that not even God could keep there was the Real killer, and Bill was on his way. The storm was still going on. It was, if anything, just getting started. The Spencer family gathered once more a few days after Poppy's arrest and the growing scandal surrounding Zen. This time for the formal reading of Liam's will rather than a funeral. The tension in the air was so strong that it could break glass. The setting was Bill's estate, and the air felt hollow because there were still unanswered questions in every room, like Ghost Steffi and Ridge, who only gave the Spencers brief nods, followed Brooke and Hope, who were both tired and pale. When they arrived, even Carter showed up as a legal representative, and his presence drew quiet stares from every corner of the room. However, Wyatt, Liam's brother, received the most skepticism inducing gaze. He hadn't shared what he had discovered yet because he had been doing his own private research for the past few days. Opening a sealed envelope, the attorney read slowly and quietly about Liam's assets, trusts, and expected designations for Beth, Hope, and Douglas, until the lawyer looked at a personal letter that was attached to the will and was written by Liam himself. There were no surprises at first. The letter began, "I leave this not as a goodbye, but as a warning. If you are reading this, I did not simply vanish. I did not commit suicide. Something took place, and I think it was caused by someone close to me." The room remains silent. "I've observed things. Strange behavior from people. There are kept secrets. I discovered inconsistencies in Forza's financial statements, with money flowing through fictitious businesses associated with a name